Hi, I'm Robert Curtis. I'm the head instructor of the Distance Calculus program. In this video, I'm going to talk about our Calculus 1 course for students who are thinking about enrolling in such a course. Now, the first question that you may have about Calculus 1, if you're a prospective student for that, is should you be taking our lower business calculus course or Calculus 1? And that's the subject of another video, probably on this same page, so you can go watch that video, and I discuss the differences between these two courses. So I'm going to talk just in this video about the Calculus 1 course. So you are taking the higher, you're thinking about taking the higher Calculus 1 course, not the lower course. You're planning to major in some sort of science or engineering or economics or something that requires the higher level Calculus 1 course. The biggest question that we get in this course is the prerequisite, which is pre-calculus. And it's pre-calculus with trig. That's the biggest question that most students have is, I don't know if I took pre-calculus. At my high school it was called math analysis. Or it was called college algebra, or it was called, there's all sorts of names for the course before pre-calculus. The best way of deciding whether or not you have had the requisite course is that, did you study trigonometry? Do you remember learning about sines and cosines and tangents and all of that stuff? If you have taken a course like that, then you have completed the prerequisite for Calculus 1. Now, the next question most students ask, or many students ask, I should say, about pre-calculus is maybe you took it a long time ago. Maybe you took it 5 years ago or 10 years ago or even 20 years ago. That is quite a long time to be away from math, but a prerequisite is a prerequisite. If you took that course previously and you have an academic record of it, you do not need to send us your academic record unless we ask for it later. We do not require transcripts at the time of enrollment for prerequisites because maybe you took it in high school 20 years ago, and it's going to be very difficult to get that transcript from your high school 20 years ago. It's not easy. So we don't make students just run out and get transcripts for every single prerequisite course. But if you do enroll and it becomes clear to the instructors that maybe you never took pre-calculus with trigonometry, you don't know what sine and cosine is, and if you ever make this mistake of saying that sine of x divided by n and you cancel those n's and you get 6, if you ever make that mistake, which of course is a bad mistake, I hope you can see, that is a very clear indicator to me that maybe you never did take pre-calculus. So we work on the honor system here, and you have to please be honest with yourself and with us about whether or not you've ever had pre-calculus. We do not have any entrance exams, placement exams that is common in some universities. I don't feel that placement exams are really that useful, but it's a way that larger universities are able to direct students when they can't have a personal touch, and we have a personal touch, so we can do what they can't do. So, if you did have trig a long time ago, and you don't really remember a lot of your trig, that's okay. Don't worry about it, all right? The first part of the course in Calculus 1 is a pre-calculus module. Now, I call it the pre-calculus module, but in a traditional course, you would just call it the pre-calculus review. In textbooks, it is such a depressing chapter. It's the first chapter in a calculus book that's usually that thick and costs $200 or more now, which is crazy. But it's usually the first chapter, and it's so boring. It's just, yes, do you remember what a line is? Yes, I remember what a line is. Do you remember what a parabola is? Yes, I remember what a parabola is. It's terrible. And It's terrible for the instructors who have to teach through it, and they have to like go over that whole chapter like in a day. And then they say, if you don't remember this, go home and read it. Well, we don't do any of that. We do have a pre-calculus module that we start with. If you don't remember anything, this is excellent to bring you back up to speed. If you do remember everything, then you'll be able to go faster through it, and it'll be good. And it's not made in the sense of review, but it helps you learn the live math software that we're going to be using in the course. It's nice to be able to practice on the software with easier examples than when you get into the calculus. All right, then we get into the actual, there's 15 or 20 assignments on the pre-calculus module, and then we get into the Calculus 1 curriculum, which is from a book called Calculus, well, it's not a book, but Live Math. Probably that's not on the video. It's probably cut off over there. But it's from Calculus and Live Math, which is adapted from the electronic courseware called Calculus and Mathematica. Now, the courseware is known as Reform Curriculum. Reform Curriculum. And in fact, it was one of the first Reform curriculums that came out about 20 or 30 years ago, although this textbook has been running around for about 40 years now as I make this video. And so it is definitely not a traditional course. It is not a big, thick textbook that we send you and say, here's your big, thick textbook with thousands of problems in the textbook to do, 1 through 99 odd. That was always my favorite assignment. We do not have any assignments like that, 1 through 99 odd. You would be the odd ones because the answers would be in the back of the book and you could check your answers. There is absolutely none of that in this course. There is no 1 through 99 odd kinds of assignments. It is a reform curriculum, which means if you have taken Calculus 1 before, let's say maybe you started the course or you took it, you feel that you have to retake it, and I have discussed whether or not you should retake courses in other videos. Usually I'm very discouraging of it. If you have taken Calculus 1 before and you have an academic transcript of it, you should not take it again. You should take the next course, but there are some students who do need to repeat Calculus 1 because it's been 20 years and they just don't remember anything, or they had a lot of fun in college that year and they really didn't go to class and they really didn't learn anything even though they got a C in the class. If you've taken the course before or had any exposure to it, maybe your roommate in college took the course and you were helping them, or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or something like this, then this course will feel quite different to you. It will feel like, wow, this is Calculus 1. It's presented in a very modern approach. Even though the textbook is now about 40 years old, it's presented in a very modern approach, and it does not resemble a traditional calculus textbook very much. You will find, the same theorems, the same ideas, there's derivatives, there's integrals, but you will not be able to go get a traditional calculus textbook like Finney Thomas or Stewart or anything, and have that and open that up and have it match in really any way to this curriculum in any efficient way. And we get some students who enroll and then they go out and they buy one of those big thick textbooks. Hopefully you went to the used bookstore to buy it and you didn't buy it brand new because they change the editions every year because they want to sell new books. It's a whole thing. But if you have a calculus textbook, an old one you got used or something, it will be somewhat helpful to you to go through it, but it will not be super helpful. It will only be a little bit helpful, all right? So you won't be able to, open it up and then, match up where our curriculum matches with that old textbook. There will be chapters on derivatives. There will be chapters on integrals. There are chapters on derivatives. There are chapters on integrals. It all converges at the same spot, but we get there much differently. I think a much better way to get to the course, but it is a reform curriculum. If you have taken a reform curriculum course, like the Harvard Calculus course, or some other reform courses that are out there, this will feel very familiar. You will feel right at home. It won't feel different as you're going through this course. It will feel very familiar. But if you have experience with traditional courses, with traditional curriculum, it will feel very different. We get many students who report at the beginning, they say, "Ugh, this doesn't feel like calculus at all. I don't feel like I'm doing calculus yet." Don't worry, all right? You'll be fine. When you come out of this course, you will have all of the knowledge of Calculus 1, and I think a superior knowledge. That's my opinion. You'll have a superior knowledge of Calculus 1 than if you went through a traditional course. Likewise, keep in mind that this kind of traditional course, the 1 through 99 odd, is absolutely not going to be the case anymore. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking at Calculus 1 in multiple ways, the topics of Calculus 1. You're going to be looking at it algebraically, but not necessarily at first. You're going to be looking at it numerically with experiments running with the computer to analyze some of the things that are going on in mathematics, analyzing functions, analyzing patterns, analyzing properties. You're going to be looking at things graphically. I should spell it right. Graphically, you're going to be looking at these graphs and analyzing the graphs and seeing how they relate to the numerics and then seeing how it relates to the algebra. And then the big thing, of course, is the written. You're going to be writing a lot of words about all of the things that you're doing here. And this is really good. You'll have practice of this for real life, right? If you're ever using mathematics in a workplace, will be doing some algebra, you will be doing some numerics, you will be doing some graphs, but you'll be writing reports for people to describe to them what you're doing over here. Never in a workplace will they ever say, hey, why don't you go home and do 1 through 99 odd and bring it back and tell us if you got all the right answers. This does not happen in the real world at all. But this does. And so you'll be doing a lot of writing. You'll be writing paragraphs about, what's going on. I made a graph, and that graph showed me this and this and this. And there were maximums at these points because I analyzed the numerics of that function, and I found where that function was crossing the x-axis, and then I applied some algebra, and I did the symbolic derivative of that function, and I determined that's the kind of reports you'll be writing. And I've had many students who have come from the traditional courses into our course and say, I never had any idea I would be writing so much. That's right. You're going to get much better at writing. Some students who prefer this course, the 1 through 99, sort of tune out and don't pay any attention to it and just, go on autopilot. Okay, I'll do number 3 now. Okay, I'll do number 5 now. Okay, I'll do number 7 now. Okay, did I get the right answer? And I call that the thumb flip, right? You have your thumb on the answer key and you go, is that right? Hey, I got the right answer. All right, is that the right one? Number 9, is that the right answer? If you like that, all right, and maybe you do, that's fine. This isn't the course for you. You will not be happy here. If that doesn't sound appealing anymore as you get older, maybe it's fine in high school, maybe it's okay, maybe the beginning of college, maybe you're older and that's not appealing anymore. If you're thinking that your math course that you're coming back to take is going to be more of this stuff and that doesn't sound appealing, this is the right place for you. This is going to be the course that you really like. All right, so what is the curriculum that we do go through? I will draw it up here, just so you know. Here is what I call the calculus spectrum. And calculus is usually divided in three parts. There's derivatives, there's integrals, and then there's series. And this is the first year of calculus, what's called the freshman year of calculus. And our Calculus 1 course goes, bam, right to there. You do all of differential calculus, and you do about half of integral calculus. And of course, this is Calculus 2 over here for us in the semester system. So Calculus 1 is right here, and then over into the middle of integrals, we stop, right after what's called the fundamental theorem of calculus, FTOC. One other big difference of this course versus some other courses and traditional textbooks is the question of applications. Some textbooks just go way over the top with applications. I mean, every page you turn, it's like, oh no, another application, another physics application, and maybe you haven't taken physics, another economics application, and maybe you haven't taken economics. Or you're not interested in any of those things. All right? I remember when I took calculus, I had a traditional textbook for Calculus 2, and it was like that. It was like all of these applications, and I wasn't interested in any of them at all. Now, maybe you are interested in applications. Maybe you're an economics major, and you would love to see all of the applications to economics. Maybe you're a physics major, and you love the physics examples. Oh yes, derivatives should be taught by throwing objects in the air and analyzing gravity coming down. I understand many students have very interests like that. One of the things that we have done in the modified curriculum for calculus and live math is that we have some applications, but not very many. All right, we use some applications, a lot of geometric applications. So if it's applications of finding volume and area and that kind of thing, all sorts of applications in those directions. But the actual applications to physics, economics, science, engineering, etc., all of those are extremely minimal. And I wouldn't say extremely minimal. There are a few, so some, but not, page after page after page after page. So this is not an applied calculus course. There are some applied calculus courses out there that are completely in the direction of engineering or completely in the direction of physics. Some larger universities have, Calculus 1 for physics. And if you're going to be a physics or engineering major, then you have to go take that very strong applications course. That's not this course. This course is definitely on the pure side. And the goal is for you to learn calculus, not physics at the same time, not economics at the same time, not business applications at the same time. But there are some applications because that's very common for a course, is to see how these things are applied to different disciplines. But I stress with you that it's only some. Some students in the past have commented that they wish there were more applications in the course. I understand. There are also other students, remember, who have said, I wish there were no applications in the course. So you see, it's a fine line, it's a juggling act. We try to have some, so that we say we have some applications, but not too many. If you are looking for a Calculus 1 course for physics or for engineering, that's not our course, unfortunately. But I will say, the goal is for you to learn calculus and then go off to your major because most students who are taking this course are not math majors. And much as I would love that to be the case, it's just not the case. And you're going to take this course and then go to your physics class or go to your economics class and have that knowledge inside so that when you sit through second year physics, you understand when they start writing all the derivatives and integrals on the board, you know what that language is so that you can understand what they're doing in those courses. If you are able to go into that future course and follow that conversation in physics or economics or engineering, then we have done our job, and that is really what we're supposed to do in this course. Not try to replicate a physics class or not try to replicate an engineering class in that sense. That is the course curriculum for Calculus 1. The pre-calculus module is more than sufficient if you are weak on your pre-calculus skills. We will bring them up to a necessary, satisfactory level. Don't worry. As long as you did take pre-calculus before and you have that in your academic transcript, so that we're not bringing you up from zero knowledge, we're bringing you up from I don't quite remember to a satisfactory level, then the pre-calculus module will be just fine, and then you'll jump on into Calculus 1 and you will do fantastic, I hope. The course has a, it starts off easy and then it gets harder about in the middle of derivatives, and then it gets easy again, and then it stays easy, and then when you get into integrals, then it gets hard again, and then back to that. So there are a couple of hard bumps here in the course curriculum. So it is not, it's not easy from start to finish. It is a challenging course, and that's why, of course, if you need the lower course, the business calculus course that I described in a different video, you certainly should think about enrolling in the business calculus if you do not need the engineering level calculus course, because these little peaks here are rather challenging, and they're meant for engineering students. They're meant for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics directed students. All right, I hope this answers some questions about the Calculus 1 course. And if you have any other questions, of course, write me an email or a chat, and I'll try to answer your questions as you present them. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.